Don't get me wrong.
Just, I mean, daddy gang, to put it in our TikTok terms. I have seen girls on the street walk up to men and be like, do you know where a tampon goes? Do you know how many tampons we use? Do you even know how, like, do you know what a X or Y or Z is of a part of our, and they don't know the answer.
I was the first vice president or president to ever in office go to a reproductive health care clinic, ever.
So, Helena, the storm came by and destroyed a lot of lives. A lot of people are gone. They're finding bodies everywhere, I believe, in NC. It's bad stuff. What does the vice president do and the future president? Go to a podcast that usually talks about sex.
Men will argue up and down that there's no way that Lizzo is in shape. Then turn on the TV and watch their favorite 300-pound offensive lineman play a 2-hour game. Not see the parallels.
Sometimes you just gotta be quiet because you don't know what you're talking about. Like, Lizzo's not doing this at 300 pounds, bro. Lizzo's not running a 4.6 40 at 300 pounds. She's not doing a 9-foot broad jump at 300 pounds. Like, what is wrong with y'all, bro? Lizzo's 300 is the same as... No, it's not. She doesn't have a 32-inch vertical. Stop playing with me. She's not running a 7 seconds in a three cone drill. She's not doing that. Y'all women be so unrealistic, bro. Look at this. Lizzo's not doing it at 300, bro. This is 300 that works out every day. This is 300 getting paid millions of dollars to hit men, grown men. This man running faster than most running backs. What are you saying? And that's 300. It's not the same.
And now you might be saying, why are you telling me this? I'm like, very simple. If somebody thinks like that, what would happen if that person is a politician?
What made you want to do Call Her Daddy today?
Well, I think you and your listeners have really got this thing right, which is one of the best ways to communicate with people is to be real, you know, and to talk about the things that people really care about. I mean, what I love about what you do is that your voice in your show is really about your listeners. And I think especially now, this is a moment in the country and in life where people really want to know they're seen and heard and that they're part of a community, that they're not out there alone. And so I'm really glad to be with you.
She knows very well how to deflect and not answering properly and make a bad situation look like a very fun, good situation. On the podcast, they're talking about blowjobs, hall passes, and frat daddies. I guess also you don't talk about how your man actually impregnated a nanny. And when Kamala says that she speaks to the right people on her podcast, which I think is woman, and she has an episode like, Welcome to Camp, Operation Hold Off on asking him to cream pie your night 1. Go listen to this week's episode and graduate from camp like the calm savages you are. Just be honest, you want to talk about women's rights, reproductive rights, and abortion.
See like the difference in the balls because some have like really tight,
really
smaller ones, and then
ones.
other really saggy.
Interesting fact about Mike, I don't know if this is every guy, but he has something that we call like morning balls. In the morning, they're like super tight, like sucked up, like looks like a 12-year-old.
Wait, what?
Yes, they're like really tight and perky in the morning, and then at nighttime they're like
slowly sag
they're like
down.
all saggy out like grandpa balls.
Wait, that's so interesting.
In other words, you need people that understand the bread movement and the joy movement, and that's not men.
He's a rogue, all right, notorious for his flamboyant lifestyle. Flashy clothes, fancy parties, fine women.
Are you his daughter? No, I'm not.
I guess you went to the right podcast. Call Her Daddy. She knows how to promote herself.
How much have you made since starting in OF?
You want me to say it on here?
Yeah, if you want to say it. Or just show me because I know you're logged in on your phone. $54,000? Y'all are sick because she looks 12. Y'all are weird. Where... I bet it... I don't even know what to say. $54,000 in a week. You're sick. Y'all are sick. Twisted. Sick.
Basketball made $4.9 billion in 2023 and 2024 combined together. In only 2023, they made $6.6 billion. It's a gangster market, and the government is all about the money.
Can we trust you? Yes. Yes. I am not perfect. But I will tell you, I'm always going to put the needs of the people first.
I'm always going to put people first.
Right? I'm always going to put the needs of the people. That was some serious body languaging.
I'm always going to put you first. Always. Nope. Nope, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. Nope, I'm lying right now. Yeah. She's a
Right?
liar.
Okay. Because I thought that seemed very,
Oh,
very.
God, I know liars. That chick is
And when
a
she was like,
liar.
yes, I'm not perfect, but yes.
Yeah. Please, for the love of God, trust me. Trust me so I can have power, please.
I'm not a language expert. This lady seems to be a language expert. I believe ladies understand women better than men. But still, if somebody tells me, I really love you, you don't have to worry about that. I don't know. I don't think that's the right message, but maybe I'm confirming my biases.
As Leo mentioned, there were those conversations, not only with migrant trans women. Being a migrant trans woman, there is an undocumented concern. There is also a concern of whether they would trust the places that are offering shelter that are faith-based because of the way they've been responded to in the past. Then if they are accepted, what would happen in terms of misgendering, in terms of bedrooms and bathrooms, etc.
So ladies and gentlemen, that was FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency. They're supposed to help people when a disaster happens. But the way they speak, it seems like we're not going to help the people first. We need to focus on this group. And once we help this group, then we can help the people. Because what people are hearing is, if I have more people from this group in my village after a storm, there is a higher probability that you would help us first.
I want to clarify what the law is there in Minnesota. Abortion Finder, a website that helps women find access, says abortion is legal throughout pregnancy in Minnesota. There is no ban or limit on abortion in Minnesota based on how far along in a pregnancy you are. You signed the bill that makes it legal through all 9 months. Is that a position you think Democrats should advocate for nationally?
Look, the vice president and I have been clear. The restoration of Roe versus Wade is what we're asking for.
But that
this is
law
a
goes
woman's
far beyond
right
Roe v. Wade.
to make her own choice. The law is very clear. It does not change that. That was been debunked on every occasion.
But
But
wait,
look, this is a.
but
you talk about
let's
this
agree.
being
What
a
you
win-
signed is there's not a single limit through 9 months of pregnancy. Roe had a trimester framework that did have limits through the pregnancy. The Minnesota law does not have that.
This puts the decision with the woman and her health care providers. The situation we have is when you don't have the ability of health care providers to provide that, that's where you end up with a situation like Amanda Zaworski in Texas, where they are afraid to do what's necessary. This doesn't change anything. It puts the decision back on to the woman, to the physicians, and we know that this is simply something to be brought up to be very clear. Donald Trump's asking for a nationwide abortion ban.
Wait, he
and
has said
again,
that
we don't see this
he has
as a
said
winning
repeatedly
campaign.
that he will not sign a national abortion ban. Are you calling that just, it's a flat out lie?
Yes, of course. And Senator Vance has in the past said so too. Now look, they may see this as an election issue. We see it as a right of women to make their own bodily decisions. And that's what the states like my state have the ability to put that in. States like Georgia force women to cross the border, and then we have a death of Amber Thurman. So let's be very clear. Trying to cut hairs on an issue on this is not where the American public's at. They want the restoration of Roe versus Wade. Vice President Harris said she would sign it. That's what we'll do when we're elected.
But to be clear,
We
the
will restore
Minnesota
that
law
right to
is
women.
far beyond Roe v. Wade. And about the Amber Thurman case in Georgia, her family has, and it's tragic, she is a young mother who left behind a young son. But what her family has said is it was a complication from an abortion pill that she received, and she didn't get proper care when she went to a Georgia hospital, which had multiple opportunities to intervene there. Her own attorney, the family's attorney, says it wasn't the Georgia law, it was the hospitals. What he claims is malpractice, not treating her when she clearly showed up in distress and still had the byproducts of her pregnancy because of that rare complication from the abortion pill. So just to be clear on the Georgia law and how her family and her attorney sees it.
For the lady, that is how you never get invited on Call Me Daddy. And for the man, that is how you will never get invited on a moderate or right-wing news channel.
Sparked a few things in my mind, thinking about preparedness and how you said, LGBTQIA people and people who have been disadvantaged already are struggling. They already have their own things to deal with. So you add a disaster on top of that. It's just compounding on itself. And I think that is maybe the why of why we're having these discussions, is because it isn't being talked about. It isn't being socialized. We're not paying attention to this community. Thank you so much. Maggie.
Thank you. There are a couple of things that are intersecting in my mind here. One of them is the culture of emergency management as an organization, as an industry in the United States specifically, not abroad. This has, and my cat sometimes does this, she gets really loud suddenly, so you'll have to just allow for the little meowing in the background. The shift that we're seeing right now is a shift in emergency management from utilitarian principles where everything is designed for the greatest good for the greatest amount of people to disaster equity. But we have to do more, right? And so this topic is intersecting, I think, with a number of other topics where we have to look at policies and understand to what extent they have disadvantaged communities that had less assets, communities that had pre-existing vulnerabilities in accessing disaster-related recovery support. New York City VOAD, Voluntary Organizations Active in Disaster, has a diversity, equity, and inclusion and anti-discrimination pledge that is required for the VOAD members. I suggest that everyone contact New York City VOAD, get a copy of it, and consider how to incorporate that in your jurisdiction. And then as it relates to the spaces where we do the work, look at how you talk about the people behind their backs.
The main issue right now is that people say FEMA is focusing on too much paperwork and nothing is getting done. But if you're not there, the first idea that comes into their head, they're going to believe it, and you need to try to prove them with some counterpoint, right? Like sending a helicopter.
I just want everyone to know that we are displaced due to Hurricane Helene from Western North Carolina. We cannot go home. We have no power, no food, no water, no nothing. We are spending $400 a night on a hotel due to price gouging in the surrounding areas because they know that people have nowhere to go. We applied for FEMA. Myself and my sister applied. My sister applied first. She got denied. I said, okay, let me try. I applied. We got denied. So we have both been denied FEMA assistance. So everyone's saying FEMA is helping $750. And by the way, that $750 wouldn't even cover 2 nights at this hotel. So I just want everyone to know that FEMA sucks and President's doing nothing and we are stuck here. I am blowing through all my savings in a hotel.
FEMA has every priority wrong. They didn't know what to do or where to do it, how to access these mountains. They were turning people away, trying to deliver funds. They were telling helicopters to land. The president's coming in and creating a no-fly zone when the president arrives while we're doing airborne evacuations. None of it made sense. Complete failure by the state, specifically the governor, to not give permission to the 82nd and the 101st. And then for FEMA to come and start impeding the efforts of organizations like ours, Save Our Allies, trying to get in and deliver goods. It's unconscionable.
Donald Trump, meanwhile, he was in Michigan yesterday where he continued to spread lies about the Biden administration's response to the hurricane. Trump told his supporters the White House has no money to spend on disaster relief because it's all being spent on illegal immigrants. There is, of course, no evidence to support Trump's claims.
FEMA is providing emergency food and shelter program funds to help cities around the country recover or defray the costs of non-citizen arrivals.
People are dying in North Carolina. They're dying all over those 5, 6 states. They're dying, and they're getting no help from our federal government because they have no money, because their money's been spent on people that should not be in our country.
Nope, that is a lie. Donald Trump's claim that the government is not helping the hurricane survivors is absolutely categorically false.
We haven't seen FEMA, we haven't seen Red Cross, we haven't seen Hearts with Hands, we've seen no agencies come through here. Most people drive through with their cameras out, filming us like we're animals in a zoo, and don't stop.
Joe Biden was at the beach. The storm hit on Thursday night. He's on the beach. He doesn't even think about going. And you know what? Kemp asked for disaster relief for 99 counties. And Donald Trump was right when he said that they're not giving the Republicans the relief. The Biden administration only gave relief for 11. And then when everybody kicked and screamed, Biden said, okay, we'll give 30 counties some disaster relief. So let's just be truthful about this. And I got to tell you, one thing that aggravates the hell out of me, why do Democrats think the way to solve the problem is to throw money in it? Close the damn border. If you don't have enough money for American citizens who are in an emergency, who need food and baby formula and everything else and heat, we can't even find them. And yes, there are places where the National Guard hasn't even hit yet. Well, damn it, that money is my money. It's for Americans in a disaster. It is not for illegals who violated our law to come here in the first place. And by the way, it's $1 billion of FEMA money. Biden in 2022 created a program that allows a transfer of FEMA money. And if $1 billion isn't enough to scare you, our administration has spent $66 billion on illegals. And that's for education, medication, law enforcement, and welfare.
And yeah, that doesn't even include law enforcement.
Well, in the end, what we've got is Americans suffering when we fought the wars, built the streets, and now we're letting illegals we don't even know want to flip the bird to us in the end and give them the money when our kids don't have baby formula. You can be damn sure they got baby formula at the border for illegals. Enough of this nonsense. That's it.
Any real
Why the heck does a Black Hawk helicopter go down where people are helping themselves and blow everything away? You're gonna make people meme this to cope because they're having a very bad time.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. I didn't do f***ing shit.
First of all, I don't blame them for coping because if they can't cope and they say the other thing, they might get in trouble. But at the same time, I don't think FEMA is stopping people from getting help. I think FEMA doesn't want us to see how bad they might have been helping the people.
Don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde kush hash purple skunk criollo colombici jam jam. Durlo que ta verdeta welcome.